Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Banter and Binges podcast. I'm Quasi.
I'm Gabby.
See, trying to do it that way. That's all right.
We're off today. I've been up since early this morning.
And I didn't get much sleep either. But we must bring the entertainment to you. So we hope you had a good week.
Yes.
And I will let Gabby take over because she is really excited about this week in particular, and she'll explain why. So go ahead, baby.
Okay, so one of the episodes that we're covering is the best, in my opinion, the best episode of this season. Possibly the best episode of the show in its entirety. I'm so excited. Okay, so we're going to go through episodes 11 and 12. Episode 11 is The Fruit of the Poisonous Tree. I'm just going to jump in. It premiered January 29th, 2012. It was directed by Brian Spicer and written by Ian B. Goldberg and Andrew Chambliss. Okay. So this episode, we see the backstory of Sydney, the Magic Mirror, and how he became the Magic Mirror. And it's pretty crucial. Yeah.
And just to remind you guys, Sydney is the newspaper man. You guys might have remembered from the past week when they had the election for sheriff and he was one of the candidates and Emma beat him out. So he went back to, the newspaper. So we'll get a chance to, like Gabby said, to see. But I just wanted to catch you guys up on who the guy who Sydney is. But that's Sydney.
Okay. So when we start the episode, we see Henry and Emma meet up at the castle, at Henry's castle. And it's been destroyed by the storm that happened last episode. Henry assures that his book is still there. That's where he hid it because he didn't want Regina to find it. So he hid it in like a toolbox.
Like he put it in like a toolbox or like a heavy case.
Yeah.
And then he buried it.
And he locked it and he buried it under the castle. So he's assuring that the book is still there. It is. Regina comes up, he finds him, and she tells Henry to go to the car, and then she scolds Emma for not worrying about Henry's safety, even though he wasn't in the castle. He was just next to it. She's like, he's gonna break his skull if one of those boards slip, and he wasn't even on it.
Right.
So, but she scolds Emma for not worrying about Henry's safety and tells her, you're sheriff now, you need to be responsible, you need to think like a sheriff. And then we see Emma and Mary Margaret. They're sitting at Granny's, and Mary Margaret gets a text from David to meet him, and it just says, "We need to talk. Meet me at our spot. Their spot is the toll bridge." She leaves, and Sydney comes up, plastered, and he's drunk off his ass, and he offers Emma a chance to show Storybrooke what Regina's really about. He says that they're done. She got him fired from the paper. And that he was working on an expose of the mayor's office, and he had found information that Regina doesn't want out. And Emma just kind of blows him off a little bit and is like, "You're drunk, go home, sleep it off." He gives her his card and says, "If you want, this information to get out, work with me and, call me." And then in the Enchanted Forest, we see King Leopold, which King Leopold is Snow White's father and Regina's husband. King Leopold finds a magic lamp that contains a genie. The genie is Sydney. He tells the genie that, the genie comes out of the bottle and it's like, you have 3 wishes. You can't wish for love. You can't wish for somebody to die. Gives him
Can't wish for more wishes, of course.
Yeah, gives him all the rules of the wishes. And it's so cute. He's just kind of like, And he kind of laughs and he's like, "I don't wish for anything. I have everything I could wish for." And the genie just kind of scoffs, and he was like, "Well, I want everyone in my kingdom to be happy. That's the only thing I can think of." And the genie scoffs, and he, is kind of like, "Yeah, whatever." So he sits down, and he's talking to the genie, and the genie's like, "I've been in this lamp for more years than you've been alive, and I've seen 101 wishes go wrong, and I'm over it." So he's like, "Well, I know what I'm going to wish for." He uses his first wish to free the genie, and then he uses his second wish to give his third wish to the genie. And the genie says he'll never use this wish because he has seen all these wishes go really wrong, and magic always comes with a price. So he's not going to use the wish. King Leopold asks him, calls him a man of wisdom, and then asks what he's going to do now that he's free. And he says he will search for something he's always wanted, but he couldn't have because he was prisoner of the lamp, and that's true love.
Dun, dun, dun.
King Leopold, correctly but stupidly, says, well, come back to my castle. I'm sure you'll find it there. And he goes to the castle. He meets Snow White. He meets the queen. He's immediately smitten with Regina. Like, you can just see it on his face. He really likes Regina right off the bat. Back in Storybrooke, Regina orders that Henry's castle, be torn down. To be fair, it is, after the storm, it's a complete mess.
Yeah.
Like, it was obvious it needed to be torn down.
It was dangerous.
It was dangerous. And Henry runs up there and realizes his book is gone. So now we don't know where the book is. And Emma confronts Regina about taking away. She's like, congratulations, you took away the one thing that he loves. And Regina tells her, I'm tearing it down for Henry's safety. This is a safety issue. This isn't a me against you or anything like that. And tells Emma that she needs to learn her place in town. And this prompts Emma to call Sydney and tell him, I'm in. We see David and Mary Margaret. They meet at the toll bridge, and David leads her into the woods and kind of scares her a little bit. He's like, "Oh, we're late," and and he's like really panicked about it. And she's like, "What's going on?" And he's set up this really cute picnic for them. And he's like, "We're late. The wine's getting warm," and it's so cute. And they start making out. And while they're making out, they're like, "Oh, we need to stop this. This isn't right. We shouldn't be doing this." And they just keep making out. Emma meets with Sydney, and he tells her that $5,000 is missing from the city budget, and that Regina took it out for something. He isn't sure what she took it out for, but if they figure it out, like, everything's gonna fall apart because he's sure it's not like city business. He says all we need to do is have a crack in the mirror to show everyone who she really is. And he wants Emma to, like, tap her phone and GPS her car and do things, do like the bail bondsman person way, do whatever you need to do to get the information. And Emma refuses and says, I'm sheriff now. I need to do things by the book. And she asks him how he got wrapped up with Regina in the first place. And he says he used to think that she was a different person. So we go back to the Enchanted Forest, and there's a party. And I believe it's not said clearly what the party's for. It could have just been a party just to have a party. Mm-hmm. But just the way the king is talking, it almost feels like it's like his birthday or something like that. Because he talks about he doesn't need any gifts except for snow. But he's doting on Snow, and he's calling her the greatest gift of all. And just like her mother, she's the fairest in the land, and he's completely ignoring Regina. And Regina is sitting there watching him just pour all this love and attention on Snow, and it's so obvious how really hurt she is.
Yeah. And she wants to be adorned and everything else, and she just realizes that
he's never going to love her the way he loved Snow's mom.
She's just a placeholder.
Right.
To be blunt about
right.
it.
He needs a wife, so she's the wife, but he doesn't love her. She sulks away from the party. No one notices. Like, she gets up and walks away, and the king doesn't notice. No one notices. Except for the genie, because the genie's kind of got his eye on her and kind of watching her. The genie follows her, and she goes to her apple tree, which is the same apple tree that's now in Storybrooke that Emma cut down or cut branches off of. Yeah. And he's commenting, "Oh, it's such a beautiful tree." And she's like, "Yeah, it's from, my garden that I had as a child." And she says that her and the tree have something in common, that neither of them can leave the palace, but neither of them truly belong in the palace. And she tells him no matter how hard she tries, the king will never love her like he loved his first wife, and that she's trapped in the memory of the life that they used to share. He says he knows what it's like to be trapped, and he gives her a mirror. And he says, this is so you can see yourself the way I see you. And she asks him how he sees her, and he says, as the fairest in the land. And like a tear rolls down her cheek, and like it's a really seemingly vulnerable moment
for Regina. Especially.
But she's not like the evil queen in this era. She's not quite evil yet. You see, Emma and Sydney are looking through records in the apartment, and they realize that the records from the transfer for the $50,000 is missing. Mary Margaret comes in, and Sydney is kind of talking about, we can do things wrong if it's for the right purpose. And Mary Margaret's like, yeah, doing bad things for a good reason, it doesn't make you a bad person. That's not wrong. And you can tell that she's kind of like rationalizing her relationship with David. And Emma is just like, we're not going to do things that way. We're going to keep things on the straight and narrow. And she kind of is like, you guys are doing a lot of rationalizing for no reason. Like, we're not doing this. They go to the mayor's office. Sydney and Emma go to the mayor's office, and they confront her. And she completely blows them off. She says, yeah, I probably transferred the money. I'm involved in a lot of transfers. I'm the mayor. And, if the records are missing, I probably check them out as my job requires me to do. And if I checked them out 3 weeks ago, then they probably burned in the fire that got Emma elected. Emma kind of leans onto her desk and stares at her. And then she's like, Sydney, let's go. We don't have anything, she's got us. We don't have anything. But while she's leaning on the desk, she plants a bug in the office. And she, as they're walking away, she tells Sydney, you win. That we'll do whatever it takes. Then we go back to the Enchanted Forest. The king calls the genie into his chamber and tells him that he has a reason to believe that Regina's heart belongs to another man. Because he's read her diary, because that's a cool thing to do. And he reads this part in it where she wrote about the interaction with the genie when he gave her the mirror. And she doesn't name the genie. She just says, a man gave me this mirror, and it really gave me hope for love and companionship that I had put away those hopes a long time ago. The king says he knows that she's unhappy. He knows that she wants someone to love her the way he never can. And he asks the genie if he can find the man who gave the queen the mirror. The genie asks, what will you do to him if I find him? And the king says, well, that's my concern. That's not your concern. And the genie says, well, yeah, I can find this man, which puts him in a weird, what is he going to do? Yeah. He's going to because if he doesn't find him, the king's going to be upset, but he can't really tell him
that he's
the man who did it.
Right.
So we go back to Storybrooke, and Emma and Sydney are listening through the tapes that were recorded because they bugged the office. And they find a piece where Regina is scheduling a handoff in the middle of the night in the forest. So they go to find who she's meeting, and they get into a wreck. And Sydney gets out of the car, and Emma gets out of the car, and they're looking. And Sydney's like, Emma, I think Regina knows about the bug because somebody's been tampering with your brakes. Emma runs through the woods. She's over it. She's pissed. And she's racing through the woods to find Regina because she doesn't want to miss the handoff. Sydney and Emma run into Mr. Gold. And he says that Regina and him were meeting because Regina was buying his land. But he doesn't know why. And he says that it's better to not ask too many questions in business deals. And he tells them to be careful that emotional entanglements usually lead down a dangerous path. Then we go back to the Enchanted Forest. The genie is approached by Regina's dad, and he gives the genie this big chest to give to Regina. Regina's locked in her room. She's not allowed to have any visitors. Her dad's not allowed to talk to her. Yeah, the king, I don't know what the king's doing.
Yeah, it's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, I can't love you the way you want to be loved, but I'm going to lock you away because you have feelings for someone who can love you the way you want to be loved.
Right. King Leopold is really contradicting himself.
Right.
You know.
And generally, you'll see in the show, generally, he's a really good guy. But that, just locking her away for having, I don't know. I didn't like it. But he locks her in her room. She's not allowed any visitors. She's not allowed to see her dad. So her dad goes to the genie and says, the king trusts you. He will let you in to see Regina. And you need to take this chest to her, and it will free her. What's in it will give her her freedom. So the genie takes the chest to Regina, and when she opens it, it reveals 2 Arabian vipers.
Yep.
And these snakes, they will kill anyone with one bite. Like their venom is super, super, super poisonous.
And Sydney, of course, knew exactly, where those snakes came from, because
It's his homeland.
it's his homeland of Agrabah. So he immediately was stunned. I'm sure in his mind he was like, how does somebody get these from so far away?
Yeah.
Agrabah's on the other side of this, world. And I had
Realm
that
that we're
question.
in.
Yeah, I
the
had that
realm.
question too. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah. Well, he opens it and he's like, it's the Arabian viper. These snakes are super dangerous. And he's telling Regina's like, I know this is the only way that I can be free. And she says that she's sorry that they couldn't be together. And she makes it kind of obvious that she's going to have the snakes bite her and she's going to off herself. She kind of puts her hand towards the snakes and he grabs her hand and he tells her not to let the vipers bite her, that there's another way and that they can use them on the king instead. And that he would do anything for her. She says she doesn't know what she would do without him. And he says that she'll never have to find out. So in a way, like, it's his idea to use the vipers on the king, but she's really manipulative. So,
Well, that just begs the question. Because her dad, Henry, gave Sydney the chest,
mm-hmm.
and he seemed surprised. How did he get it? Sydney didn't get it, right? He didn't get the chest.
Right. So whose idea was
Whose
the vipers?
idea was
it
this
Regina's?
really?
Was
it
Regina's
Henry's?
dad?
Yeah.
It wasn't the genie's idea. It wasn't Sydney's idea.
Yeah.
But so we're going back to Storybrooke. Emma and Sydney go to the mayor's office and they break in. They break in,
Hacking. They hack the computer.
Yeah, they hack into her computer and they get printouts of all the information on the sale of the land. Emma's looking for Henry's book because she thinks that Regina took it from the site of the castle, and so she's opening drawers and looking for this book, and she finds this big hoop with a bunch of skeleton keys on it. And she's like, what is this? She puts them back. She's looking through stuff. Regina shows up because the alarm went off when they broke in. And she asks what they're doing. And Emma's like, well, I'm the sheriff. I'm doing my job. And she tells her, Sydney seen kids with a rock. And they broke in. So Regina's like, it's fine. Nothing seems like it's missing. Nothing seems out of place. And then you see Henry is sitting in the diner and he's writing down what happened in the book so that he won't forget it. And the stranger, because the stranger's still in town, he approaches Henry and is like, what are you doing? And Henry's like, I've got to get this all down before I forget it. He's like, yeah, I hate losing ideas. And he's like, well, they aren't my ideas. They're from a book. And they're kind of chit-chatting. And Henry is super annoyed.
Yeah, he's very suspicious of the stranger.
Right.
And basically, he's not hiding it. He's
No.
like, who are you? What do you want? And
why are you so interested in me and my book?
Yeah, the stranger says, hey, I'm a writer. And, Henry doesn't buy it. Henry says, who are you really? So,
yeah.
Kudos to Henry for being precocious, but we don't know you.
Right. We don't know you.
We don't know you.
Henry asks him, what are you doing in Storybrooke? Like, for real, what are you doing here? And he just says stuff and walks away. So, and then we see Sydney and Emma. They're going through the papers that they printed out, and they find blueprints for a house. Sydney says, "That's it. We've got the evidence. We've got her." Emma says, "Well, yeah, but the evidence will be thrown out in court because it was illegally obtained." And Sydney's like, "Well, we don't need her to go to jail. We just need the people of Storybrooke to know what kind of person she is." Like, that was what this was all about. It wasn't about getting her in legal trouble. It was about ruining her reputation. And Sydney, to kind of like prove his point about how dirty Regina really is, he opens up a file, a drawer, and in the drawer are pictures, printout pictures of like everything Emma and Henry have done so far. Like, it's them at the castle, it's them coming out of the ice cream shop, it's them walking on the streets. It's like, just like he's been following them around taking pictures. And Sydney tells her, like, Regina knew about the castle weeks ago. She just waited until it would hurt you the most. And then Emma's like, "Okay, we're done." Like, she agrees, they're going through with it. At the next council meeting, Emma stands up and she accuses Regina of stealing thousands of dollars to build a second home. And Regina agrees. She's like, "Yeah, I did take the money to build a playhouse," and shows the people that are in the council meeting like this kind of mock-up of a playhouse. And she's like, "I wanted all the children of Storybrooke, not just Henry. I wanted all the children of Storybrooke to have a safe place to play." And she says she even got the blueprints out of one of Henry's books. And Emma and Sydney
are dumbstruck.
They're just like crap.
Dumbstruck. And they're silent. They
Yeah.
didn't say anything. And
well, what is there to say?
There's nothing to say. And, those who were in the audience for the council meeting were just kind of sitting there on pins and needles waiting for a response from Sydney and Emma that never came.
Never came.
Yeah.
So we go back to the Enchanted Forest, and the genie takes the vipers into the king's room where he's sleeping. He releases the vipers into the king's bed, and they're kind of it's really gross. They're like slithering up on the side of him. And he wakes up the king, and he tells him, "You asked me to find the man that stole the queen's heart. I'm that man," and tells him, "You gave me my freedom, and I'm always going to be in your debt for that. But just like you gave me my freedom, I must now give the queen her freedom." And the vipers bite him. And the king grabs the genie's hand, and all he says is that he wishes he never made the wish. And he dies.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we know that his death was a murder. He didn't just die of old age. And it was Regina's fault. Which is, back before we saw the funeral and her come in and tell the magic mirror, "Oh, she doesn't know that I'm the one responsible for his passing." But then you find out that the magic mirror had something to do with it too.
Right.
So back in Storybrooke, Regina comes out of the mayor's office and she confronts Emma after the meeting and says, "You've taken things too far. There isn't a judge around here that wouldn't grant me a restraining order if I wanted one after breaking into my office and following me around. And you can't see Henry until I say so. And right now I don't say so." She's lost the high ground, and Emma has nothing to say.
Right.
There's nothing she can do.
There's nothing she can do.
So you see Henry playing on the playground that you just saw the blueprints for. And it's miraculously built. It's finished. Kids are playing on it. And he sees Emma in her car, and they talk over the walkie-talkies. And he tells Emma, "Come over." And she's like, "I can't. I need to take some space. Your mom doesn't want us seeing each other." And Henry's like, "Well, I don't care what she said. Like, she can't boss us around." And Emma's like, "Well, actually, like,
she can.
She can. Like, this is I messed up."
Yeah.
And
She said it in just such a way like, "I messed up, kid."
yeah. She's like, "I got mad at your mom about you and the book and the castle, and I took it too far." Henry says he doesn't want to be a part, and she says, "I don't either." And she's like, if just so you know, if your book is out there, I'm going to find it. And then we see the box that the book is in, and it's locked, and it's being opened with bolt cutters. And then you see like hands come in and grab the book and pull it out, and it's the stranger.
It's the stranger.
So the stranger has the book, which I don't even know how the stranger knew about the book.
Yeah, unless he was tailing them.
Emma
something.
and Henry.
But we really, at this point, don't know what his motivations are.
Yeah, why does he even care about the book?
But what we do know, is that he may know something about this book.
He knows something.
He
knows something about something.
About something. Yeah, I was going to say that.
He's not just this random stranger. He knows something.
Yeah. And remember, he was able to come into Storybrooke.
Right. So he's already special.
So there's something special about him.
Right. So this stranger that we still don't know his name.
Yeah.
So then we go back to the Enchanted Forest, and the genie, goes into the queen, and he says, we're free, we can be together. And the queen says, the palace guards found the snakes, and they put the pieces together. They know it was from the genie's homeland, and they're coming after him, and he needs to leave. She's arranged transportation to get him out of the kingdom. And the genie realizes that she set him up and that she never loved him. And she gets super harsh with him. And she says, the king is dead, and that's all I needed you for. You no longer have any use to me. And he should be grateful that she's offering him an escape. He says he can't live without her, that he won't live without her. She says she doesn't love him. They'll never be together. And he is basically like, well, we'll see about that. And he makes his last wish. And he wishes to be with her forever and never leave her side. And he is trapped in the mirror that he gave her. But there's like a mirror realm where if you're in one mirror, you're in every mirror. Which is why Regina can see through mirrors, like look into a mirror and see through other mirrors, because the genie is connecting her to other mirrors. She smiles and says, well, it looks like you got your wish. You'll be with me forever. You see Emma and Sydney sitting at the diner having a drink, defeated. And Emma's like, we really messed this one up. And Sydney's like, well, yeah, we messed this up, but like there's plenty of skeletons in her closet. We'll get her on something eventually. And she's lucky because she has an ally now. He's there, and she's like, we won't be fooled the next time. And then fast forward and we see Sydney in Regina's office, and Sydney plays a tape for Regina of him and Emma having that conversation. And Regina says it's good that Emma trusts him now, and that cutting the brakes on her car was inspired because it was Sydney who did it. And now that she trusts him, they can have some fun. He says she will know everything Emma does. Everywhere she goes, he will give her all the information. She touches his thigh and says she doesn't know what she would do without him. And he looks at her with the most intense longing. Like you can just see that he's in love with her. And she doesn't care.
Yeah.
So that was the episode.
It was a good episode. Besides the whole, Agrabah Vipers thing, the other thing I was wondering is when Regina turned her back to the genie, it appeared that she had like some tears welled up.
Yeah. When she was like, I don't love you.
Yeah.
You have no use to me. She was kind of like on the verge of crying. So it was like, did she actually, why? Did she actually have feelings for him? Was it kind of a little bit of regret for killing the king? Was it she was so happy she was free now?
Yeah. My guess, if I can hazard a guess, is that I think she did love him to a degree. I really do. And when I saw her turn her back and the tears came, it was almost like she had to take a breath and compose herself and then turn around to him and say, I never loved you, and just going through the whole thing. So I noticed that, and again, Regina and Lana Parrilla is such a good actor.
She is.
She really is.
She's amazing.
And, she played that scene really well, but Giancarlo Esposito is also an excellent actor.
Excellent.
And, the interplay between the two of them was fantastic. And so we were all left brokenhearted. But by the time the episode ended, we had kind of put things together, and it was sad. But now we know why there's, no matter how Regina treats Sydney, he's always there.
Right.
We have that background now. And
because that's in his mind, that's the love of his life, even though he's not the love of her life. But I think this is like the first taste of love that he's ever had, and he's clung to that because he's been a genie for so many centuries that he's never had a chance at love. So he saw that chance and clung to it and didn't know how to let it go.
Yeah. And
kind of that like first love, when you fall in love for the first time and it's time to let it go, and you're like, where do I go from here?
Yeah, you definitely saw the longing. And then, when he was betrayed, you hearken back to what he said to the king when he first encountered the king. And that's, I've had 1,001 masters who made wishes, and all 1,001 suffered
for their wishes. No matter what wishes they made.
No matter what wish they made.
And it came true because the king's wish was to free him and give his last wish to him. Like, he made wishes that were completely not self-serving. They did not serve him at all. The king's wishes. It was, I wish you freedom and I wish you to have a wish. And it still ended up bad for him.
Right. And what's so bad about it is that he ignored his own advice.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment for love, he ignored very, very
good advice. And it's throughout the episode, it's kind of pushed on us how wise the genie is. The king says it all the time. You're a man of wisdom. You're a wise man, and I need someone as wise as you to help me find this man who took my wife's heart. I need someone as wise as you to do this. And he's so wise, but yet that moment of I'm gonna lose this love,
it was his downfall.
Yeah. He was like, I know that this is gonna end wrong. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a very good episode. One thing I want to mention too, Gab, is this: Emma has been really reckless as of late.
Yeah.
Very, very reckless. And about her war with Regina, but with Henry's book stolen and her discovering pictures and everything, Emma is just...
It's just pushing buttons.
It's pushing, she's like, I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
I want this to end. And even though things ended badly, you had the sense that Emma was going to figure things out, And
she's going to do it again. She's like, well, this didn't work, but...
Exactly. And, while they were at the bar commiserating each other, they were there, and, Sydney says, you gained an ally, like you said. And they had, glasses of beer, and they kind of clinked. They did the little toast, cheers. Clink, cheers. And, for someone who's smart and for someone who has the superpower.
Right.
How is she getting played?
Right. Because you would think with her superpower, but we'll see in the future, her superpower is not always reliable when her emotions are out of control. It's not like when her emotions get in the way, her superpower is not always as accurate as what you would think it would be.
Yeah. That was one
And
of the
that's what it
things
is. Her emotions are in the way.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I noted, while I watched the shows, that Emma's just, a wreck right now.
And she knows that she needs to be different. Like, she's like, I'm the sheriff now. I need to be responsible. I need to handle this the right way. And then something pisses her off, and she's like, fuck it.
Yep. So that's something to keep an eye on too.
Yeah.
And of course now she can't see her son.
Right.
She's in the car. She looks just dejected. Because she's lost access to her son, and it was her fault.
Right, and she has to tell him that.
Yeah.
She has to tell him, like, because he don't listen to Regina. He don't listen to shit his mom says. And so he's like, well, we don't have to listen to her. And she's like, well, I really messed up this time. Like, I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
We have to listen to your mom. So, what do you think about David and Mary Margaret being, we shouldn't be doing this, and then
smooching some more,
then sticking their tongues down each other's throats?
Hey,
we need to figure out what this is. We need to stop doing this. What are they doing?
I know.
Adulterers. These hoe bags.
Is so irresponsible, and
I hate it.
I hate it. They're taken, and it's not like we haven't heard stories from time immemorial about folks getting married and loving each other, and then there's this connection with someone else, and everything gets complicated. They wrote novels about it, all kinds of things.
I know that, but I don't like it.
I know.
They're supposed to be Snow White and Prince Charming, and they're doing no.
But see, that's the thing that I love about it, is that this seems to be supernatural too. They can't stop.
Yeah, they
seeing
can't.
Each
Yeah,
other.
they can't.
They can't. And if
this
you look
pull
at
is too strong for them to morally.
Yeah.
They're like, morally we shouldn't be doing this, but there's something pulling us together.
Yeah.
At least for now. At least for now.
So, with what we know now about their lives back in the Enchanted Forest, you kind of get this sense that all this curse stuff start happening, but there's still remnants of something, and and Mary Margaret wants the companionship so bad.
She does.
She does, and you end up rooting for her, even though she's doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, and David's just a hoe.
Well,
he's such a hoe.
Well, hey.
I can't with him. I just can't. I want to. Like, I want to root for him. I want to be like, yay, be together. But, like, just leave your wife. It's not that hard. And you can have memories of being in love with somebody. Okay. And look back on those memories and go, yeah, those were good times. Right?
Right.
But have that not interfere with your decision making today.
No,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
He can say, I had feelings for Catherine. Those feelings have changed. I don't feel those feelings now. I have feelings for Mary Margaret now. I'm going to pursue a relationship with Mary Margaret and let Catherine go. Because at this point, he's doing both of them injustice. Like, he's doing both of them wrong. Because he's leading Catherine on thinking, they're working on their marriage and everything's great. Well, not great, but, they're working on it. And
then not just working on their relationship, Catherine wants a family.
Yeah, Catherine wants kids.
So this is, and
So the goalpost is kids, and they're working their way towards being in love again, so that they can start a family the right way.
Right.
And she's on this track, and he's over here like, well, yeah, but Mary Margaret.
Right.
And Mary Margaret's on this, we're going to be together, and eventually he's going to leave Catherine, and everything's going to be great. And he's like, well, yeah, Mary Margaret, but Catherine.
Right. Right.
So what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah. And
grow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not hard to file for divorce.
Apparently it's hard in Storybrooke.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, where we live, it's not hard.
Yeah.
You go fill out a paper. Well, a couple papers.
More than a couple papers.
You fill out quite a few. We both know you fill out quite a few. In triplicate.
Yeah.
and sign a bunch.
It was a good episode. It was solid.
It was. These two episodes, like, okay, the next episode, I will die on this hill. This episode is the best episode of the season. And between this episode and one episode in season 5, those two battle in my brain on which is the best episode of the series. The entire series. This episode is it could be the best episode in the series. Until I watched the episode in season 5, and then I'm like, this is the best episode of the series. And then I watched this one again. I'm like, this is the best episode of the series. They're both the best episode of the series. They share number one.
Well, I can say that, these last couple of episodes have been very informative. The stakes are high.
Yeah.
Folks are moving in certain ways. Regina can't control everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can see this stuff happen, but it's a slow burn, right? And that's what's so frustrating, but what is so delicious about Once Upon a Time, because it has Disney-inspired characters, but it's a soap.
Yeah, it's definitely a soap opera.
It's a primetime soap, which I am of a certain age. I'm 48. And
I'm not saying my age, but I'm up there.
And I remember watching, daytime soaps and nighttime soaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Gabby, I'm like, don't you realize this is just a big ass soap opera?
And I didn't. I'm sitting there watching it for like 20th time I've watched it. And I'm do. And he's like, this is such a soap opera. I'm like, no, it's not. And then I'm watching it. I'm like, oh.
It really is.
It kind of is.
And there's nothing wrong with soap operas.
There's nothing wrong with soap
I was
operas.
weaned on soap operas.
Me too.
That's fine. But just to have that soapy type of action, is endearing, and I've enjoyed what I've seen so far. But despite its soapiness at times, there's a real story.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of characters.
Yeah. There's a lot of stories going on at the same time.
Yeah. And
it gets worse as the seasons progress. Like, you've got like 7-8 storylines, like main storylines. Not like you've got one big storyline and then a bunch of little sub storylines. Like, there's 7-8 main storylines going on at the same time.
Yeah.
That you gotta keep track of. But it's I don't find it hard to keep track of them.
No, me either. And I've watched complicated dramas before, and Once you're really invested, you get it. And that's a kudos to the writers too, because writing something for a very large ensemble cast is difficult, but so far it's my opinion that they've done very well, and that folks, despite having such a big cast, everybody is getting their turn to be a part of the show.
Yeah. Wait until we hit like season 3 and 4. You're going to be like, oh, I thought the cast in season 1 was big. Because once you hit season 3, 4, 5, the cast gets big. The main character cast. Not even like the not the main characters. What are they called?
Secondary characters.
Secondary characters. Mm-hmm. The secondary character cast is huge. But the main, like, in every episode cast gets really, really big.
Yeah. We got a ways to get there, but hang in there with us. It's worth it.
So, we're going to go to my favorite episode. It's episode 12 of season 1. It's called Skin Deep. It premiered February 12th, 2012, right before Valentine's Day. And it's a Valentine's Day episode. And this is the only episode in the entire series that has a point in time where it's like today's Valentine's Day or today's Christmas or there's like a idea of what time frame it happens in. Everything else is pretty much just this happens. There's no time frame. But this is the only episode that where we are in time.
Yeah, agreed.
So it was directed by Milan
Chaloff.
Okay, that. And it was written by Jane Espenson. I knew I was going to butcher that name. I was so scared to say that name. I was like, I'm going to butcher this.
I got you.
So we open with who I believe is a duke. I don't believe he's a king. I believe he's a duke.
Yes, he's a noble he's a high noble
of some sort. But I don't believe he's a king.
Yeah.
Because later we're talking about Belle, who also is my favorite Disney princess. I love her so bad. It's her father. But she doesn't call later in the episode she calls her hometown or her area a village. She doesn't call it a kingdom.
Right.
So I believe he's a duke of some sort.
Yeah.
We open to him saying that he's with a bunch of soldiers and stuff. And he's like, we need help with this war against the ogres. They're unstoppable. It's too late. And Rumpelstiltskin shows up because they had called Rumpelstiltskin for help.
Yeah.
And he was delayed.
And he always makes the triumphant entrance. Right. No different this episode than any other.
Right. So they're all freaking out. Like, he's not coming. We're screwed. The ogres are going to overtake us, and there's no help. And there's a knock at the door, and they have the door barricaded. So they unbarricade the door, and they open it up, and there's no one there. And then they turn around because he's behind them in a chair.
Yep.
So he knocked on the door and then booped into a chair. And he says, yeah, I'll help you with your war. And they offer him gold. And he's like, I spin straw into gold. I have more gold than you could ever dream of. I don't need gold.
His hobby is spinning straw into gold. That's a hell of a hobby.
I wish.
Yeah.
With my Bath and Body Works obsession, I wish I could spin straw into gold.
And
you wish I could spin straw into gold. Yeah, how much money I spend at Bath and Body Works.
I would much rather have Mr. Gold looking out for me because you hurt my pockets.
I can't say anything. I hurt my pockets.
And then when her pockets are hurt,
I go to his pockets.
So that's marriage for you guys.
That's how it works. That's how a happy, long-standing marriage works. When my pockets are hurting, I go to your pockets. When your pockets are hurting, you pray. That's how it works.
I pray every night.
Because your pockets are hurting every night?
Every night.
So anyway, so he says, I don't need gold. I don't want that. He's like, what I want is her, and points at the Duke's daughter, Belle, which the Duke is absolutely not. She has a fiance who's, we'll get there. Her fiance is absolutely not. She's mine. Da, 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 da. I can't stand him. And he's basically tells her, I'm not looking for a girlfriend. I'm looking for a caretaker. I don't care that she's engaged. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. Belle agrees, despite her father and fiance being very, very much against the idea. And she tells him, as long as my family and my friends will live and my kingdom or my village will be safe, I'll come with you. Her father says, you can't do this. And she says it's been decided. Like, I've already made my decision and I'm not turning back from this. Rumpelstiltskin kind of stands over her shoulder and says, well, the deal's been struck. Congratulations on your little war.
So he instantly defeated the ogres.
Yeah.
Instantly.
The war's over.
The war was over.
But Belle's gone.
Right. What amazing power to just vanish ogres.
Thank you for your daughter. Your war is over. Congratulations.
Yep. We'll be seeing you.
So we go to Storybrooke, and Mr. Gold approaches Mo French, who is the Duke. And he's an owner of a flower shop in Storybrooke.
He's a florist.
Florist, that's the word I was looking for. And he missed a payment on a loan from Mr. Gold. So Mr. Gold repos his flower van on Valentine's Day with $1,000 worth of roses in the back. And Mo French, you can't do this. You got to let me sell these flowers. Like, as soon as I sell the flowers, I can pay you. And Mr. Gold's like, I'll let you take it up with the guy that's driving the car away. I'm not going to entertain this. Walks away. Regina's watching from across the street. And as Mr. Gold approaches, she says they need to discuss something. He says, it's going to have to wait. And she's like, no. And she's kind of like blocking him from walking past her. And he says, it's going to have to wait, please. And he walks past her because, remember, anytime he says please, she has to obey him per their agreement.
Yep.
In the story or in the Enchanted Forest.
Yep, and that contract holds.
Yep, that contract holds. So like he's like, you'll have to talk to me about this later, please, and walks away. Then we see, this is so funny. Mary Margaret and David are at Granny's, and they're sitting at separate tables, but they're talking to each other because she's reading a book and she recommends the book to him, and he starts reading the book, and so they're kind of like chit chatting back and forth. And Ruby comes up and offers to push the tables together. They're like, no, we're not together. We're not together. And they start like looking at their books separately. So it's like, just sit at the same table. It's not a crime to sit at the same table.
Right. It is.
Like, I'm sure Catherine will be more upset when she finds out you're macking on each other in the forest
Yeah.
than you're sitting at the same table talking about a book you're both reading.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny though. Like, they go overboard trying to prove that they don't have any connection.
Yeah.
So Emma comes in and, you know, she's kind of low-key asking how Henry is without asking. And Mary Margaret says, you know, he's doing good, but he misses you. Ashley comes in. We haven't seen Ashley in a minute.
In a little while.
And she's got a baby now. And she comes in and she sits down and she's complaining about, she says her and Sean have been so busy they haven't gotten around to getting married yet. And this is important because this is the one part of the one thing in this episode that irks the shit out of me. And it shouldn't. It's not even that big of a deal, but it just bothers me. It's the one thing that makes this episode from being perfect. She says, yo, Sean's been working doubles at the cannery. His job. Mm-hmm. He's been working doubles. They haven't gotten around to getting married yet, which kind of implies that they're engaged. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page.
We are.
She's implying that they're already engaged. And Sean is working on Valentine's Day. So Ashley and Ruby set up a girls' night. And Emma's like, I'm not really in the partying mood, but Mary Margaret will go.
Don't you love how she volunteered?
And it's obvious the look on Mary Margaret's face and David's face because he's sitting one row over.
Yeah.
And they look at each other like, fuck.
Damn.
Because it's clear that they had their little plans. Then we see Mr. Gold. Emma when they're in Granny's, Emma gets
a page.
Okay, I didn't know what it was called. I'm
page.
not that old.
Yep.
She gets a page, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta go." Like it's the sheriff's station. Then we see Mr. Gold going into his house, and his door's already open when he approaches. So he goes in, and he's kind of looking around. He pulls out a gun because he's packing, and he finds Emma. And Emma's like, "Oh, your neighbors noticed your door was open and called it in." And he says, "Well, it looks like I've been robbed." And he says, you know, you can go. I know exactly who did this. I know exactly what was taken. And she says, if he doesn't let her do her job, that she's going to arrest him for obstruction. And he tells her, you know, his name is Mo French. He defaulted on a loan. We got into a little disagreement about collateral. Collateral? She says, you know, I'll check him out. He says, well, I hope you find him first because bad things happen to bad people. He really, 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 really does not like Mo. And Mo really doesn't like him. They are...
Yeah.
Through the entire series,
right.
They hate each other.
Oil and water.
Yes. Then we go back to the Enchanted Forest, and Rumpelstiltskin is leading Belle through the castle, and he's like, oh, he opens up a door to an empty, it's not a cell, but it's like a tower room, like locked in the tower. It's just like an empty concrete room. And she's like, what's this? He's like, we'll call it your room, and shuts her in there. And then she's banging on the door. She's like, you can't just leave me here. And he walks away. And then later he's showing her around the castle and telling her, you know, her duties. You know, you're going to make my food. You're going to dust. You're going to, you know. And he's like, and you're going to, how does he say it? He's like, you're going to skin the children that I hunt for their pelts. And she's pouring tea while he says this. And he's joking. And she drops the cup.
Oh, she was just
She was like,
dumbfounded.
what?
Like, oh my God,
We
what
went
have I got
from-
into?
We went from dusting to skinning
Skinning
children.
children. I thought you liked the weave. Wait.
So she drops the cup, and there's a chip in the cup, which obviously represents Chip from the movie. So she apologizes. She's like, it's just a chip. You can barely see it. And he's like, it's just a cup. Like, this cup ends up being super, super important. So later, this is like my favorite part. Belle is up on a high ladder because these in his castle, he has these super high windows that he's bolted fabric over because he doesn't want to let the sun in. And she's trying to tear down the tapestry, and he's spinning at the wheel, and she asks him why he spins so much, and he says it helps him forget. And she asks what he's trying to forget, and he kind of looks up and he thinks about it. And he's like, "Must have worked."
It's a nice
funny.
little joke, and they both chuckle at it.
Yeah.
It was a sweet moment.
And they just look at each other, and you can tell that they like each other's company. So she's pulling on the tapestry, and while she's pulling on it, she falls. The tapestry rips, and she loses her balance and falls. And he catches her, like a groom carrying his bride. He catches her, and the sun is coming in, and they're looking at each other, and it's just a moment. They have a moment, and I love it. And he puts her down, and they kind of straighten up, and she thanks him, and she says, "Well, I'll put these back up." And he kind of looks, and he's like, "No need. I'll get used to it. I'll get used to the light." And it's just the best moment. It's the best moment. So we go back to Storybrooke, and Emma brings Mr. Golden to the sheriff's station, and she uncovers all of these trinkets that she's recovered. And he says she's recovered nothing, that there's still something missing. And she says, I got all of this in less than a day. Like, calm down. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll find it, and I'll find him. Because she didn't find Mo. She just went to his house and found all the stuff.
And notice, too, that he doesn't tell Emma what he's looking for.
Yeah, he doesn't tell Emma what's missing. And he doesn't care about anything else that Mo took.
Right.
Like, he literally just scans the table. It's like,
This is nothing.
Yeah, this is nothing. It's still missing. And she says, I'll find it and I'll find him. It's not a big deal. And he's like, well, not if I find him first. So he's upset.
Just a little.
Just a little. And then we see in the Enchanted Forest, Belle is sitting on the table. In this main room, he has his spinning wheel and this a bunch of glass cabinets, like curio cabinets that hold like just a bunch of, I'm assuming they're magical items, but it's just a bunch of trinkets. And then he has like pillars, like little pedestals that he has some objects on. But then he has this really long dining room table. And she's sitting on the table, and she asks why he wanted her here. And he kind of looks at her, and he goes, the place was filthy. And she says she thinks he was lonely and that she has had time to kind of look around. She's been there for a couple months, and she's had time to look around the castle, and she's found children's clothing up in one of the bedrooms. And she asks if the clothing was his or if he had a son. He says, there was a son, but he lost him and lost his mother. And she says she's sorry and says that, she's like, oh, you were an ordinary man once. And he is silent, and he just kind of looks at her because it's almost like he wants to trust her to tell her, but there's a wall there. And she just looks at him, and she's like, if I'm never going to know another person in my whole life, if I'm never going to know anyone else, can I at least know you? And he says, perhaps she wants to know him, or perhaps she just wants to know the monster's weaknesses. And then there's a knock at the door. So another one of the best parts. Rumpelstiltskin goes to the door, and it's Gaston. And he pulls his sword out, and he's, I've come to retrieve my wife. Not free her, not because she's in danger, because she's his. And he's like, I've come to free my fiance, da 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 da. And Rumpelstiltskin turns him into a rose. Like,
Nothing.
Like nothing. Just turns him into a rose, which he then gives to Belle.
That's some gangster shit. That is some gangster shit.
And tells her that it was just some old lady selling roses.
Damn. Rip Gaston. We hardly knew you.
Right. We'll see him again. We do see him again, unfortunately. He is kind of talking to her, and he's like, so you had a life before this. You had, family and friends, and what made you choose to come here? And she says, there's not a lot of opportunity and chances for women to be somebody in her village and be heroes in her land. And one of my favorite quotes of the entire show, she says, I always wanted to be brave. So she figured, do the brave thing and bravery will follow. And he asked her if this is everything she hoped. And she says, well, I did want to see the world, but I saved my village. And, that's what matters. And that's what I mean by, I think, the dad's a duke, because she doesn't say I saved my kingdom. She just says I saved my village. He asks her about her betrothed, and she says, it was an arranged marriage and she didn't really care for him that much. And she could never love someone as superficial as Gaston. But then she says another one of my favorite quotes of the show. She says, to her, love is layered. It's a mystery to be uncovered. And my heart, I love it. So she asks again about his son. And he tells her, why don't you go to town and get some straw? And when you come back, I'll tell you the tale. And she's like, you trust me to come back? And he's like, no, I expect to never see you again. And then we go to Storybrooke. Ashley, Ruby, and Mary Margaret are at a bar. And Ruby is chasing after guys. And she encourages Ashley to go after them. And Ashley's like, I'm still with Sean. And Ruby's like, well, he's not here. So, like...
I don't know about Ruby.
I love Ruby.
Ruby is just, yep, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, she's like, well, have fun sulking. I'm going
to go pick up guys.
I'm going to go talk to these guys. So Ashley and Mary Margaret kind of left there, and they're both sulking. Like, they're not having a good girls' night at all, because they just don't, they're not in the mood. They're not, clearly. Body language, everything. Everything. So Ashley's like, Sean's always working, and I'm always with the baby, and, I thought love would be different. And Mary Margaret's like, me too. Then you see David in line at the pharmacy, and he's getting 2 Valentine's Day cards. And Mr. Gold sees him and is like, oh, two Valentine's Day cards. And David's like, yeah, they're both just so us, trying to play it off like it's for one person. Even though these 2 Valentine cards are the exact opposites, like the definition of a juxtaposition. Like, one of them is a dog and it says, I woof you. And one of them is like a ballerina. So it's like, one of them's really funny and corny, and one of them's like really sweet and romantic. So Gold says, you're fortunate that you have someone who loves you. Love is like a delicate flame, and once it's gone forever. While he's buying like duct tape and rope. So he leaves, and then he abducts Mo. He finds Mo and abducts him. He takes Mo to the cabin that Mary Margaret and David had stayed in during the storm in the couple episodes ago. Mm-hmm. So that's his cabin that Mary Margaret and David just broke into. And he pulls out a gun, and he tells Mo that he doesn't let people get away. That doesn't happen yet. My notes are messed up. So I was like, wait a minute, that don't happen yet. So then we're back in the Enchanted Forest, and Bella's walking towards town, and she's stopped by the Queen, who asks who she's running from, lover or master. And Belle's really quiet and just kind of looks at her, and she's like, oh, lover and master. And she's like, let me get this straight. You love your employer, but you're leaving him. And Belle says, I could love him, but something evil has taken root in him. And Regina tells her that it sounds like a curse, and true love's kiss will break it. And if he loved her, he would let her go. And she's like, well, he did let me go. And asked her, like, would a kiss make him an ordinary man? Like, if I love him and he loves me, would that make him not a beast anymore? And the queen tells her, yes, true love's kiss will break any curse, which he's not cursed, though.
Right.
He's not cursed.
He's not cursed.
He's the dark. Well, I guess in a way he's cursed, but he's not in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
Like, so you see Rumpelstiltskin, and he's standing at this tower part of his castle, and he's looking out on the land, and he sees Belle returning, and he books it downstairs and around and to the main room, and he sits down at the spinning wheel and acts like he's been spinning this whole time. And she comes in, and he's like, "Oh, it's a good thing you're back. I'm almost out of straw." And she says, "Oh, you're happy I'm back." And he says, "Well, I'm not unhappy." And she sits down kind of on the spinning wheel and says, "Well, you owe me a story. What happened with your son?" And he's spinning, and he says, "Well, I lost him, and there's really nothing more to tell." And she's like, "Well, since you lost him, like since that moment, like you haven't loved anyone, and no one's loved you back." And he asked her why she came back, and she says she admits that she wasn't going to, but something changed her mind, and they kiss. It's the best moment. And as they're kissing, he starts, like, physically starts to transform back into a man. And the kiss breaks, and you see his face not morphing, but, like, the colors changing, because he's very scaly and, like, green, and you kind of see his skin returning to normal. And she's like, "Oh, it's working. Kiss me again." The curse can be broken. And he kind of pulls back and is like, "Who told you that?" And all she says is she. And Rumple loses his shit. He uncovers a mirror because he knows the queen can see him through the mirror. Sorry, I was getting parched. He uncovers a mirror, and he's screaming at this mirror. And he's, you're trying to take my power, and you're never going to defeat me. And he turns and he accuses Belle, of trying to make him weak. And he accuses her of working for the queen. And then he's like, "Or are you working for yourself? Is this you being a hero?" And he's screaming in her face, and it's super intense. And he's, and she's like, "No, like, I love you. Like, this isn't, there's no ulterior motive to this. Like, I genuinely care about you." And he's like, "No one can love me." And he takes her up to her room and throws her in her room. And then he goes back down to the main room, and he completely destroys the glass cabinets that are in the room. And he's taking the tea set, and he's throwing, like, the cups and the plates and everything against the wall until he gets to the chipped cup. He picks up the chipped cup, looks at it, and stops and puts it back down. So, super intense scene, and he played it amazing. They both played it amazing.
Really well. You can see the softness in Rumple, and then that instant turn to rage.
Yeah.
When he feels that the queen is trying
setting him
to,
up.
Set him up and, diminish his power.
Mm-hmm.
But then he becomes irrational
and blames it on
Belle. So it was
and paranoid. He
right.
gets really paranoid about what's the motivation behind you loving me.
Right. And it was a incredible sequence.
And he doesn't even take time to consider if it wasn't true love, the kiss wouldn't have worked to begin with.
Right.
So if she had an ulterior motive and she was just trying to be a hero, or she was working for the queen, or she was, there was some kind of motive behind it, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
And he doesn't even take, like, a step back to consider that. He just flies into a rage. And it's an amazing scene. Then we go back to Storybrooke, and Mo is begging for a chance to explain. Mr. Gold kind of like pushes the handle of his cane. It's a handle, right?
Yeah.
Like the hand part of his cane into his neck and tells him, I'm going to let you breathe. And you're going to say 2 sentences. The first sentence is, where is it? Still doesn't name what it is. And the second is, who told you to take it? He lets the cane up, and Mo says, well, I needed that van. And Mr. Gold's like, wrong first sentence, or bad first sentence, and starts beating him like mercilessly.
Yeah, mercilessly.
Yeah, that word.
Yep.
With his cane. I mean, he's just beating the shit out of him. And as he's hitting him, he's like, he goes from you took it to like, it's your fault. You're her father, and you abandoned her, and yeah, it's bad. And at that point, like when he's beating Mo, Emma comes in and pulls him off and arrests him for assault.
Yeah, it was certainly that.
Yeah, certainly an assault. And she does tell Mr. Gold, like, you didn't break anything he really needs, but like you went too far. And then you go back to the bar, and Ashley's telling Mary Margaret that she thought girls' night would make her feel better, but what she really needs is a be with her guy night. And kind of starts complaining again that he's always gone and she's always with the baby, and what's the point of being together if you're never together? This is what irks me. Sean shows up with roses and surprises Ashley and proposes to her, even though they're already engaged.
Yeah, that was kind of, I don't know.
Because she implied they were engaged by saying they haven't gotten around to getting married yet.
Right.
But why would you say that if you weren't engaged in the first place?
Right. I hear you.
But he proposes to her, and he's like, I have 20 minutes before I have to be back to work. You want to take a ride? And she said, yeah. And,
A ride.
A ride. Mary Margaret leaves the bar after this. I think it was too much for her. She leaves the bar, and she runs into David.
Oh, no.
And he can't even watch this part.
Oh, no.
It's the best part.
No, it is not. Tell the people.
Okay. So they meet out in the street corner, and he tells her, I just wanted to give you your Valentine's Day card. And she's kind of opening it, and she's like, you checking up on me? And he's like, well, I wouldn't want you to find someone else. And he's saying that as she's pulling the card out of the envelope. And she opens it, and she's like, oh, like you? Because he gave her the card meant for Catherine. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And pulls a different card out of his pocket and says, I meant this one. Like, it's so bad. And she says she always thought that 2 people who loved each other would find a way. But if this is their way, they should find another one, and tells him to go home to Catherine. He says he won't give up, that they'll find a way.
I just need to give some commentary about this. That is the sloppiest shit I've ever seen.
That is the wrong way to cheat.
It is not the way to go. It's like a Jeopardy question. Dumb shit you shouldn't do for 1,000, Alex.
And the Valentines were in different colored envelopes.
And he still messed it up. Because Catherine's, if I'm remembering correctly, Catherine's was in a red envelope and Mary Margaret's was in a white envelope. Or the other way around. I'm dyslexic, so it might be the other way around. But they were in 2 completely different colored envelopes. You could have wrote their name on the envelope. Like... Yeah, you could have did that.
But
Most people do.
Most people do, but not David. But the look on Mary Margaret's face.
Yeah.
Like when she's like, oh, like you? And you could just see, she's just like, well, fuck. Like, I'm trying so hard. And like, yeah, he's giving me a Valentine, but he's giving a Valentine to her too.
Right.
So what are we doing?
Yep. And, guys, don't do this. Don't. It was so sloppy.
Leave the other Valentine in your car.
Right.
Don't put it in your pocket
Don't
with the
put
value.
it in your pocket. What are you doing?
Don't mix it. Cheat correctly.
Yeah. He's cheating wrong.
He's cheating wrong.
Now, I'm not saying go out and cheat on people, but
Yeah, well, don't cheat. But if you're going to cheat,
do
don't
it,
be stupid.
do it well.
Right.
Cheat well.
Cheat well.
That's the moral of this episode. Cheat well.
The moral of this episode is that Belle and Rumpelstiltskin are true loves.
Cheat well. Do not cheat. Do not cheat like David, please.
It won't work for you.
No.
So we go back to the Enchanted Forest, and Belle is sitting in her room, which is an empty concrete room with like a concrete bed. When comes in and he tells her to go, he says that he doesn't want her anymore. And she goes to leave, but she comes back, and I mean, right in his face, and tells him he was freeing himself, that he could have had happiness if he could have just believed that someone would have wanted him, but that he's a coward, and no matter how thick he makes his skin, that doesn't change. He says he isn't a coward, that it's simple, that his power means more to him than she does. And she says it doesn't, he just doesn't think she can love him. He made his choice, and he's going to regret it forever. And all he will have is an empty heart and a chipped cup, and she walks away.
And you can see the regret already in Rumpel's face. It's just one of those things where, you know, you knew it was wrong, but you couldn't help yourself. It was really sad.
Yeah. And it says something about Belle, too, because instead of just walking away, Belle gets in his face and was like, no, you do care about me. You do have feelings for me. You're just a coward that won't admit it because you're afraid.
Yeah.
You're afraid of your feelings.
Yeah.
And you're pushing me away because you're afraid.
Yeah.
And that makes you a coward.
She went there.
And you're never, like, this was it for you. Like, you're going to regret this for the rest of your life. And he does. He does. And then we see Regina in Storybrooke. Regina comes into the sheriff's office and tells Emma to take Henry to go get ice cream. They have 30 minutes. Emma obviously jumps at the chance. And Regina says apparently this is the only way she could have her chat with Mr. Gold. Mr. Gold is in the cell in the sheriff's office. And Mr. Gold tells her to please sit. And of course she sits because she has to. And he tells her when two people have something the other wants, that a deal can be struck. And asks her if she has what he wants. She says yes. That she... And he asks her, why did you tell Mo to take it? And she says, I didn't tell him to take anything. I just merely suggested that strong men take what they need. And he says, okay, and you told him exactly what to take. She knows what he wants, and he asks her again if she has it. She says, I do have it, and says, I just want you to answer one question. Just answer it plainly, one question, and I'll give you what you want. And she asks him, what's his name? He says, Mr. Gold.
And she's waving.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. She hasn't pulled it out yet.
All right.
He says, Mr. Gold. She says, what's your real name? And he's like, every moment I've spent in this world, my name's been Mr. Gold. And she says, what about other worlds? If you want me to return it, then what's your name? And he says Rumpelstiltskin. And she reveals the cup. And she's like, this is when she's waving it around. And she's like, so much emotion over such a simple thing, like basically making fun of him and poking fun at him that he's so emotionally attached to this chipped cup. He grabs it from her and thanks her and calls her Your Majesty, and says, well, now that they're being honest with each other, let's get back to the way it used to be. He has the power. And don't let the bars fool you. He's the one running all of this. And she's like, oh, well, we'll see. But he has the cup back. And that's what it was the whole time, was this chipped cup. And then you see Rumpelstiltskin in the Enchanted Forest. Rumpelstiltskin is spinning straw. which is what he does. He does it when he's upset. He does it when he's trying to forget things. He does it when he's bored. This man spins some fucking straw. He's spinning straw when the queen comes in and she wants to make a deal about a mermaid. And he says, I'm not dealing today. She asks if he's angry with her because obviously she's seen his little temper tantrum, big temper tantrum through the mirrors. And he's like, well, your deception failed. You'll never be more powerful than I am. She's like, oh, is this about that girl I met on the road? As she's making a cup of tea. And she pretends she doesn't know her name. She's like, what was her name? Margie? And he's like, it was Belle. And she's like, well, I assure you I had nothing to do with that tragedy. And he's like, what tragedy? And she tells him that Belle went back to her father and her fiance was missing. And after her stay with him and her association with him, no one would want her. And that her father shunned her. And he's like, oh, so she needs a home. And the way he says it, there's so much hope in his voice. Like, I can make this right. She needs a home. I can take her back. And the look on the queen's face, she smiles in such a despicable way. Mm-hmm. And she's like enjoying telling him. And she's like, oh no, her father was cruel to her. He locked her in a tower and he sent in clerics to cleanse her soul. And after a while, she threw herself off the tower. He says, you're lying. And she's like, am I? Which I think her just asking, well, am I lying? Kind of tells him she's not. And he tells her they're done. Like, leave, we're done. We're done for the day. And she's walking away and she like wipes her finger across the table. And she says, the place looks dusty. He should get a new girl. And she leaves and he takes the chipped cup and he removes something from one of the pedestals in the main room. And he puts the chipped cup on it and cries. And it's so sad. Because you could see that he had hope that he could have made it right. And then all of his hope died.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And he was devastated.
Yeah, completely devastated that he couldn't fix it. And he was right. She said, you're going to regret it for the rest of life. The only thing you're going to have is a hole in your heart and a chipped cup. And that's all he had in the end. Which is also why he was beating Mo so viciously was because he blames Mo for her death. Because she, Mo's kind of responsible. But the last scene of the episode, Regina goes through the hospital to this secret lower level, this like mental health sanitarium type deal. And she goes to a room and she looks through this like, the like doors that they like slide food into.
Yeah.
There's the peephole and then they open it and they slide food. Mm-hmm. She opens it and she looks through it and it's Belle sitting on the bed. So she wasn't dead. So.
And that was the end of the episode.
That was the end of the episode. She has held Belle captive for the last 28 years.
Well, I'm going to let you talk about this episode first.
I love it so much.
Oh
my
ahead.
Gosh.
Go.
Okay, so the acting is incredible. Like, the acting on the show is incredible anyway, but just, like, I cry every time I see this episode, and I know what's happening. Like, I know what's coming, and I cry every time I see it. Like, just the look of complete devastation on his face when he finds out she's dead. Like, and the look of hope on his face when she finds out, when he thinks that she needs a home. He's like, I can have her back. I can tell her I love her. I can make this better. And then she's like, oh yeah, she's dead.
It snatches all the hope he has away.
And you can just see him deflating.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene where he rages out, was like, he's scary.
Yeah. And during that scene, there's this really melancholy music, and you see Rumpel just breaking everything
Everything.
in that sequence, and just like Gab said, just raging out.
Yeah.
And
Which, as it turns out, you'll see in future episodes, is a hobby of his. Every time he gets angry, he breaks his shit.
yeah,
I'm like, what does that do for you? You have to replace that.
or I don't know. You need to just tell him to go back to spinning
Straw.
straw in
Well,
the
that's
gold.
true. He can replace it
Yeah, he can infinitely.
infinitely. He's like, oh, I broke this. Just spin. It's fine.
Yeah.
I love this episode.
Well,
Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie. It's my favorite Disney movie. It's my favorite fairy tale. I love the original fairy tale, which is nothing like the Disney fairy tale. I've read every reimagination possible. Like, I just love this story of like falling in love with someone for truly who they are, not because like every other Disney at the time. I'm not talking currently. At the time, this movie came out in 92, right?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so before 92, every Disney fairy tale was, I see him, he looks good, I love him. And that's it. It was love at first sight. Where with Belle, it wasn't love at first sight. Like, she got to know him, they built a relationship. He gave her a library. Like, I'm a reader too, so that got me too. And Belle was the first Disney princess that I really related to, because I was like the awkward, rather read books than talk to people, not popular. You know what I mean? The person people made fun of, like, and she's my girl. I love her so much. And for her to find true love, like, I was like, oh, there's hope. Like, I'm not, in my little brain, I was like, she fell in love with him for all the right reasons. And she fell in love with him despite all of his flaws.
Right. And you can say that Rumpel fell in love with her but didn't keep her for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
And that's what stuck out with me more.
And with Beauty and the Beast, now that I'm an adult, it occurs to me, she did not know that he was a prince when she fell in love with him.
Right.
She did not know, when she fell in love with him, she did know he was a prince, but she didn't know that he was going to form back into a prince.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
She had no idea.
She was fully ready to love him as a beast.
Yep.
And yes, you're a beast, but I love you and it doesn't matter. Yep. And then he turns into, I don't like how they drew him at all. I think he was more attractive as the beast, but like, I hate how they drew him. But she got the handsome Prince Charming in the end, but what she fell in love with wasn't on the outside.
Right.
And she was fully, like, committed to banging him as a beast. Like, she was. She was like, it don't matter. I'm down for it. And then she gets a handsome prince.
Okay.
I'm just saying, now that I'm an adult, I see things differently.
Yeah.
But, like, there was just something about Beauty and the Beast that my favorite one before that was Snow White. And I don't know why. I just love Snow White. But then Beauty and the Beast came out. And I love it.
Obviously. Very conspicuously so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my takeaways from this episode,
Is David is stupid?
oh my gosh. That's a separate show. But
That's a separate episode.
But at the same time, this clumsiness. I mean, he's clumsy. He's really clumsy.
Who? David?
David.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's really clumsy.
Yeah.
And
Not very charming. For him being so charming in the first, as charming, he's so charming. He don't live up to his name in Storybrooke.
Not right now.
Not
Absolutely.
right now. Absolutely not.
And every time I see that scene, I pull something over my eyes. I just
he
don't
can't
want
watch
to
it.
see it. It was so cringe. It was so cringy.
Yeah.
And I do like what Mary Margaret says. He's like, if this is what we're doing to be together, then maybe we need to figure out something else.
Right.
And, I know it hurt her to say that.
Not as much as it hurt her to open a Valentine's Day card and have another woman's name written in it.
Listen, I already told you.
That's never happened to me. I would cry.
Of course. That's
I'd be
terrible.
like, you got some other girl's name written in my Valentine. What? Excuse me?
Yeah. I mean, but the thing about it is that she could have took more offense, but she didn't.
Right. She didn't. She didn't freak out. She was just like, hey, if this is how this is going to work,
Then
we need to work
figure
something else out.
Yeah.
Because you need to go home to Catherine. I'm done.
Yeah, this isn't it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. Here's something about Rumpelstiltskin, is that you're going to see him in different places. So he's the Beast.
Yes.
Now.
He is the Beast.
So how many lives has he lived?
So currently, he is the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
He is the fairy godmother from Cinderella. He is Rumpelstiltskin.
Yep.
He's the Dark One.
Right.
Which is kind of like a once upon a time. I don't think that comes from anything else.
Right.
I don't remember
doesn't.
any fairy tales where they had like a dark one or a all-powerful wizard or anything like that. But that's it for right now, I think.
Yeah. I'm just...
He becomes way more.
Yeah. I'm just amazed. I'm like... And, reimagining him as the Beast, I was like, well, should I be disappointed? But then I was like, you know what? This does work.
With the makeup?
With the makeup and everything.
The
you
scaly
can be
green.
called a Beast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah. At first, when I really did not like the choice, but thinking about it, it made a whole lot of sense. And, they were very true to Beauty and the Beast, from the chip cup to True Love's Kiss, as as Regina called it. And this fear of just being ordinary is something that we're going to see more about.
And I like it because, so we know that Rumpelstiltskin, before he became the Dark One, he was a coward. That was who he was.
Yep.
And then he became the Dark One, and he got all this power, and he wasn't afraid anymore. But then he found something that he wasn't used to, that was new and scary. And he was like, shit, I'm afraid. What do I do? Like, I'm not a coward anymore. So he proves himself a coward by trying to not be a coward, by pushing away love because he's afraid.
Right.
So he's like, being in love, I'm afraid of it. That makes me feel like a coward. I'm going to push it away. But pushing it away makes him a coward because he's not taking the chance for it.
Right. And Belle told him to his face.
Yeah.
You're a coward. And I mean, she went in on him.
Yeah.
But next probably the two revelations in this episode. One is that Regina suspects that Mr. Gold knows who he is. So
Right.
that blackmail that she did was to draw him out. So now you know that there's at least two people awake.
Right. Who know that each other are awake.
Right. There was a third.
Yep, Graham.
But
not anymore.
Regina murdered him.
Right.
So, what's going to happen now?
Regina has suspected that he was awake since the first episode.
Right.
Or the second episode. When he was like, we can drop this, please. And it was like, oh, maybe he's awake. But now she knows.
Yeah.
So how does that change their dynamic?
Right.
Because there are no secrets now. They fully know each other better than anyone else in Storybrooke knows each other.
Right. And they don't have access to magic.
No.
So the power comes from being an administrator like the mayor, or being this business tycoon like Mr. Gold. That's the substitution for power. So the loss of magic power, shows itself as, power in a community.
Right.
And
Well, and the question is, what is she going to do with Belle? Because the thing is, she could have killed Belle, but she didn't.
right. So is it
He thinks she's dead.
Right.
She could have killed her, but she didn't. She held on to her to use her for later.
right? But 28 years,
Yeah.
and
And it implies, because she had her, in captivity for 28 years. I don't know if this is canon, but the assumption is that she was kidnapped by the evil queen, and the evil queen kept her captive in the enchanted forest.
Yeah.
And then that just moved over
to
Storybrooke.
Storybrooke. Yep,
So
that
you
makes
kept
a
her
lot of sense.
captive, told him that she was dead, and for what?
Right.
What kind of game are you playing?
What is it? And like I said, Regina.
But now she has. He doesn't know that she has this power, but she has a little bit up on him because she has the woman that he loves
Locked away. And
that she can pull out at any time.
And he's in jail.
And he's in
And
jail.
he's in jail. So, definitely the tables have turned.
It's not looking good for him.
So we got to see what happens in the next episode. I found that revelation. I knew it was coming. I felt that it was going to come. And it did. And it came when he was the most vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And that's how Regina does what she does. I swear I want to call her Alfred Hitchcock. I do, because she's everywhere.
Right.
You know how every episode of Alfred Hitchcock, he puts himself in?
Yeah.
That's Regina.
I used to watch Alfred Hitchcock with my mom.
Yeah. That's what Regina
I think
reminds
that's
me
what
of.
started, like, me on horror or, like, thrillers, is watching that.
Watching
I was
Hitchcock.
little, and my mom would wake me up in the middle of the night to watch Alfred Hitchcock with her.
Yeah.
And if she didn't, I would cry the next day.
Wow.
Like, you didn't wake me up.
Well,
To watch The Ugly Man. That's what I called him. The
really,
Ugly Man.
The Ugly Man.
The Ugly Man with his scary stories.
Yeah, scary stories and scary life and scary things done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that the chipped cup ends up, I'm going to spoil something. It ends up becoming Belle's talisman later in episodes. And I love that her talisman is a part of their story. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that's unique to her. It's something that's unique to them.
Yeah. Very much so.
Where his talisman is his dagger. But that's unique to him.
Yeah. Right.
Where this is like specifically a moment in time between them.
Yeah. Yep.
Where he was joking and she broke shit.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, when he says it, like, he literally just, like, is listing things off. He's like, you're going to do the laundry, and you're going to do the dishes, and you're going to skin the children. And, like, he says it just
as matter of factly
as you're going to do the dishes.
Yeah.
And then he's like, that one was a quip. And she's like, well, I broke your cup. Like,
yeah.
Not funny. I loved it. I love their dynamic so much. And me and him will literally argue over this. I am in the fan arena. It's called their ship is called Rumbell. I love it. I love their relationship is so toxic. But I'm so obsessed.
Yeah. I'm not going to spoil it.
But he cannot stand their relationship. Not that he can't. It's not that you have anything against the characters themselves.
No,
right?
no, not
You
at
just
all.
can't. You don't like the dynamic between them.
Right. And we'll let our audience decide as we go through this.
I disagree with all of them.
Yeah, but
Because they're all going to be like, no.
No,
and I love it so
yeah.
bad. Maybe it's just because like I have a little bit of that toxicity in me.
Is that it?
Maybe.
Wow.
Like I don't want a toxic relationship within myself. Like I don't want our relationship to be toxic. But I love watching it. It's that reality TV person in me that just loves watching the drama. And I think like I just love it. I love it so much.
She loves it so much. If you guys take anything away from this, cheat right. And I just love it.
Love the toxicity. Cheat right and love the toxicity.
Take,
That's
if anything, that's what you take out. Not that Rumple's
but
awake.
the thing is, like, I think that they love each other on a level that the other characters, the other ships, don't love each other. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I
like
think
they
you're right.
fight, and I mean, it's bad, but like they fight just as hard as they love.
People, it's more than bad. It's more than bad, people. It's more than bad. Regina level, if not worse. We will get there, though. We will get there.
Yeah,
though.
I don't want to spoil anything. I could go on and on and on and on about Rumple and Belle.
But one thing I can say is Regina is a terrible human being.
Yeah. So she killed her. She killed her dad.
Killed her dad in the second. Let's recap. The second episode.
She killed her
the
dad.
The second episode, she takes her dad out.
In like what the 5th or 6th episode, she takes out Graham.
Yep.
This episode, she takes out her husband.
Yep.
Like, she just be killing.
Yeah, she's terrible.
People have to have hobbies.
I guess, but she, like I said, Lana Parrilla plays it, so well. And like I said before, when you think she can't go any lower.
Okay, but to be fair, like she had, I'm not going to say she had a legitimate reason to kill, because there is never a legitimate reason to kill. But she had a legitimate reason. The thing is, he was not going to let her go, but he himself admitted, not only do I not love her the way she deserves, I can't love her the way she deserves and wants. So why are you keeping her?
Right. I get that.
I understand you're a king and you have to be married. I get that.
Right.
But then marry someone who's okay with not being loved.
Well, I mean, like I told you earlier, she's a placeholder. She's a placeholder.
Then marry someone who's okay with being a placeholder.
No, I get it. I agree.
Let her go. Well, I guess divorce didn't really happen back then.
Quote unquote medieval times, it was,
Yeah.
But, I agree.
And to be fair, we're going to see in the future that she didn't want to get married in the first place. Like she wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And she was forced into this life. Like she didn't want to be royalty. She didn't want to have this life. She wanted nothing to do with it. And then she was just thrown into it and been like, you're never going to be loved. You're never going to be cherished. You're always going to be second fiddle to his daughter. You're like,
so
deal with it.
So she concocts this plan so quickly, and
I'm not saying she's right. I'm just saying like I can understand not the murder, but I can understand the emotions of like I have no escape.
If you look at it from her point of view, it makes sense, but and
to be fair, even though she did manipulate him, it wasn't her idea to use the snakes. It was his.
It was not his.
But she didn't bring it up. She was like, I'm going to do this to myself.
Yeah. But like you said.
And he was like, whoa, wait a minute.
But what you said, and this is the kind of incredulous part about it, is that she hacks this plan all by herself. She didn't. She called her dad. Her dad got the Agrabah Vipers. Mm-hmm. I told you. My
question is, how did she know that the genie would do it? Like, how did she just look at, like, because they didn't know each other that well. Not really. How did she know he loves me so much and he loves me to a level that if I were to make it seem like I'm going to end my life, he's going to offer to end the king's life?
Right.
How did she know that he would go that far?
That's a good
that's
question.
a really that's far to go.
Yeah. Why did she go so far? I mean, she could have ran away with Sydney.
She could have.
I mean, it's not like he still didn't. He was not a genie anymore, but he still had his powers.
No.
He didn't have his powers?
No. The powers are attached to the lamp.
To the lamp, okay.
That's why he said there when he was released, when King Leopold was like, I wish for your freedom. He said there are 2 more wishes left in the lamp.
Right.
Because the lamp is what
gives
what grants the wishes. The genie's just the conduit to the lamp.
Yeah, I got you. That makes perfect sense. They could have run away together.
The thing is, he could have used the last wish in the lamp to wish them away. He had the last wish was his. Leopold gave him the last wish.
Then why didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. How did she know?
I mean, I get it. And for me, the wish would be,
let us be free.
Wish Leopold gone.
I mean, he kind of made Leopold go away anyway.
But it wouldn't require death.
Yeah.
That's on her.
I'm just saying he could have wished for freedom. He could have wished the queen free. He could have. There were other options.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. There were other options.
I totally agree.
So how did she know he was going to take it there?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Or is she just that good at manipulation?
Well, it seems to be because, she's in the infancy of her evilness because she didn't come off as evil,
Yes, but no.
I mean.
I think she's not in the infancy of, evilness took root in her heart a long time ago when that thing happened.
Yeah.
But I think she's finally to the point where she's acting on those thoughts. Before their thoughts and their feelings and their, these things going through her head. And now she's getting to the point that she's acting on them.
Right. Because basically.
After years of mulling them over.
Right. Because basically, with the king dead from regicide, the new ruler.
It's her.
No. It's Snow White. She inherits the crown.
To be fair, she's trying to take care of Snow White too afterwards.
Remember, and we're going to talk offline for some of this stuff because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, we're gonna be conversating about this for the rest of the night.
So we will spare you, but we hope you enjoyed this episode of Banter and Binges. I really do. My wife did.
I did. I did. This is the best episode.
I enjoyed it too. Yeah.
Although, future reference, when we get to the episode in season 5, I don't remember what episode it is, what number it is, but it's our decay. When we get to that episode, I'm gonna be like, "This is the best episode" because it's very close. They're neck and neck.
Well, stay tuned for the next 2.5 years, and
and we'll get there.
And we'll get there. But I am Quase.
I'm Gabby.
And we will see you next time.
Yep. Next week, we're going to do episodes 13 and 14.
Yes. Join us.
Bye.
Bye.